If you haven't been living under a rock for the last couple of years, you've more than likely at least heard of Demon Slayer, a shonen anime/manga series that's become astronomically popular in recent years. In fact, it's become difficult to go more than a few feet in any game, pop culture, or comic shop without being inundated with Demon Slayer merchandise. And the Demon Slayer movie Mugen Train quickly became Japan's highest grossing movie of all time. So with Demon Slayer being one of the hottest properties in the world right now, it was only a matter of time before it got a video game adaptation. I only got into Demon Slayer at the beginning of last year, but I quickly tore through the first season as well as the movie, and I really enjoyed them both, thanks in no small part to the show's breathtaking animation. I'm also one of those heathens who likes watching the dub. Please don't hate me. Despite enjoying the anime and being a big fan of comic books and manga in general, I actually haven't read the Demon Slayer manga, largely because I enjoyed the anime adaptation so much that I almost feel like I'd be spoiling it for myself if I read it. I feel the same way about My Hero Academia. Fortunately for me, and anyone else whose only exposure to Demon Slayer is the anime, the Hinokami Chronicles only covers the story up to the events of Mugen Train, so you don't need to worry about the game spoiling anything for you if you aren't caught up on the manga. If you're not familiar with the story of Demon Slayer, it follows a young man named Tanjiro who lives a quiet life in the mountains with his family, until one day while he's away, his family is slaughtered by a demon. The only survivor is his younger sister Nezuko, who herself is turned into a demon. This sets Tanjiro on a quest to become a demon slayer, in hopes of exacting revenge on the demon who killed his family, and finding a way to turn Nezuko back into a human. Along his journey, he teams up with an extensive cast of weird and wonderful characters, including the cowardly Zenitsu, who passes out when he gets scared, only to become an incredibly powerful fighter while unconscious, and the arrogant and literally boar-headed Inosuke, whose only interest is finding strong adversaries to fight. And just like in the anime, in the Hinokami Chronicles, Inosuke remains the most entertaining character by a mile, while Zenitsu remains absolutely insufferable. Like a lot of anime-based games, Demon Slayer the Hinokami Chronicles is a 3D arena fighter, with some light exploration sprinkled in between fights. While I am a little tired of nearly every anime property getting this exact same kind of game, the Hinokami Chronicles is at least made by CyberConnect 2, who I'd argue do this genre better than anyone else. In fact, I think their Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games are the best video game adaptations of an anime ever. So I knew this game was likely going to be good, and it is. Unfortunately though, that's all it is. While the Hinokami Chronicles is a good game, it's definitely not a great one, largely because of its small roster of playable characters and overall lack of ambition. If you've ever played any of the Ultimate Ninja Storm games, the Hinokami Chronicles will immediately feel very familiar, with the Hinokami Chronicles sharing many mechanics with those games. The Hinokami Chronicles mechanics are pretty standard fare for a 3D arena fighter, and because of this, it's far from the most technical fighting game. And once you've mastered one character, you'll probably be pretty proficient with most of the roster, because many of the characters play very similarly. Combos are not only very easy to pull off, but largely based around a single button, so you could probably scrape through most fights by just button mashing. But if you're something of a perfectionist, or chasing the platinum trophy like I was, you'll want to be aiming for an S rank in every battle. And this is where you're forced to put more thought into mixing up your attack pattern and dodging out of the way of attacks to keep your health as high as possible. Where combat gets interesting is with the special moves. You'll be able to pull off each of the character's most iconic attacks from the anime, and there's a certain thrill to nailing enemies with a breathing technique like the water wheel, which you've seen Tanjiro perform countless times in the anime. Like the Ultimate Ninja Storm games, the Hinokami Chronicles features a support mechanic where you can call in an ally for help. You select a teammate before fights, and you can tag them into the battle by holding L1. Teammates can also perform a couple of different actions that draw from your support gauge that's constantly filling up during battle. There are 2 tiers to the support gauge. Once the first level is full, you'll be able to call on your teammate to perform an attack, which is a great way to interrupt an enemy's combo. But if you let the support gauge fill to the second tier, you'll be able to have your ally pull you out of the way of danger, which can help you avoid a fatal blow. It's worth noting that if you choose to play as any demon aside from Nezuko, you won't be able to have a support character, as demons choose to fight solo. The Hinokami Chronicles roster consists of the fan favourite characters you'd expect to play as, like Tanjiro, Nezuko, Inosuke, Zenitsu, Rengoku, and Rui. After I'd unlocked the full roster, I found myself almost exclusively sticking to the dream team of Tanjiro and Rengoku. Obviously, with their Naruto games, CyberConnect had hundreds of characters and a staggering amount of content to pull from. So naturally, those games had a much larger roster than the Hinokami Chronicles. But even with that taken into account, the roster here feels very small, at just 20 characters. And to get to a roster of even 20 characters, they've had to include a couple of real Z-listers and several variants of Tanjiro, Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Nezuko, with only slightly altered movesets. Some of these variants are pretty amusing, giving the main cast some goofy costumes and ridiculous special moves. I especially appreciated having Academy versions that replace Inosuke and Zenitsu's swords with baseball bats and a broom, but they don't drastically change how the characters play, so they do little to distract from the anemic character roster. The Hinokami Chronicles story mode serves as an abridged retelling of Demon Slayer from the start of the series through to the end of the Mugen Train arc, and it's a fun way to relive the story of the anime and refresh your memory before jumping into Season 2. When I think about Demon Slayer, there are three major sections that are highlights in my mind. The Suzumi Mansion, Tanjiro's incredible battle with the spider demon Rui, and the Mugen Train arc. I loved all these sections of the anime for different reasons. I loved the Suzumi Mansion arc for its visual creativity, the Rui battle for its sheer hype, and the Mugen Train arc for its emotional gut punch of an ending. These were easily my favourite parts of the anime, so I guess it should come as no surprise that they're also the highlights of the Hinokami Chronicles. It's truly impressive how faithfully this game manages to adapt these fights with its blend of in-game battles and quick-time event-filled cutscenes. Take the Mansion battle for example. This fight sees Tanjiro facing off against a demon with several drums embedded in its torso. Each time it strikes a drum, the entire mansion shifts, meaning you're fighting along the rooftop and walls, before the fight seamlessly transitions into a QTE-heavy cutscene for the battle's epic conclusion. I know that some people don't like QTEs, but I have no problem with them when they're done well, and I think CyberConnect do them better than any other studio. In the Hinokami Chronicles, they allow for beautiful frame-by-frame recreations of the anime's iconic action set pieces, which I really enjoyed. I honestly don't think you'd be able to truly capture the spectacle and intensity of Demon Slayer's best moments without utilising QTEs. I think about Tanjiro's epic battle against Rui for example. I'd argue that it's not only the best moment in Demon Slayer thus far, but also one of the most impressive anime fight scenes of all time. And the Hinokami Chronicles blend of cutscenes and QTEs allows the game to recreate this thrilling battle wonderfully. Playing through it in-game, I literally got chills when this sequence started, and my heart was pounding throughout the battle as I was taken right back to my first time seeing it in the show. While the majority of the game follows a pretty similar formula, Chapter 7 does try to break the mold and mix things up. This chapter takes place at a point in the story where Tanjiro is recovering from a major battle and focusing on healing up and training. I thought they'd probably just gloss over this chunk of the story in a cutscene, but instead, CyberConnect went a different route. They basically made this entire section a series of different mini-games that feel like they're pulled straight out of a rhythm game. I actually really like rhythm games, so I was down for this kind of distraction. Unfortunately though, all these mini-games are basically exactly the same, and they're also all exceptionally easy. Fortunately, this chunk of the story is mercifully short, so it doesn't have time to get tedious. I would say that the campaign in general is very easy, and I found myself getting S ranks in the vast majority of battles on my first attempt. Unlike the Ultimate Ninja Storm games, Demon Slayer the Hinokami Chronicles isn't open world. Instead, you're moving from place to place and dropped into smaller, more confined hub areas where you can explore, complete side activities, and track down demons with Tanjiro's impressive sense of smell. The lack of an open world is understandable though, because in Demon Slayer, Tanjiro is almost constantly on the move, unlike in Naruto where the characters are regularly returning to their home of the Hidden Leaf Village, so it'd be a lot harder to make an interconnected map of Demon Slayer's world. The side content that's scattered throughout the story mode really feels like an afterthought that was thrown in once they realised how short the story mode is. I did everything there was to do in the story mode, and it still only took me around 7 or 8 hours to finish. That's pretty short, especially when you compare it to the Ultimate Ninja Storm games, which took around 20 to 30 hours to finish if you did all of the side missions. Of course, this is because the Hinokami Chronicles has a lot less source material to pull from. While the Ultimate Ninja Storm games often adapted well over 100 episodes of Naruto at a time, the Hinokami Chronicles only has 26 episodes and a movie to pull from. Because of this, I can't help but wonder if they should have waited until the anime was further along before attempting to make this kind of adaptation. All of the Hinokami Chronicles side missions are extremely simple and frankly, not good. They never give you anything even remotely interesting to do, and usually just boil down to talking to a certain number of different NPCs on the map. Similarly, the optional collectibles are also pretty dull. They come in the form of memory shards, which allow you to see moments from the anime that didn't make the cut in the game, but they're just static images with some voiceover. They're an uninteresting collectible, and to add insult to injury, if you want to get the platinum, you'll not only have to collect all of these memories, but also view all of them, which just feels like a colossal waste of time. On the main menu, you'll also find a rewards section. As you complete different tasks, you'll unlock panels on the rewards board that fill in different images. Each panel you uncover gives you a new reward. These rewards include art, profile pictures, music, quotes, and even alternate costumes. Different panels unlock under different conditions. Some will require you to complete side missions, while others can be uncovered using the Hinokami Chronicles in-game currency, Kimetsu points. CyberConnect have always done a great job of translating anime art styles into 3D with their gorgeous cel-shaded visuals, and the Hinokami Chronicles is no exception. The character models look exceptional, and the sleek animation perfectly captures the feeling of Demon Slayer's bloody and visceral action. One of Demon Slayer's greatest strengths as a franchise is its art style. The distinct and creative character designs help the series stand out from other anime, and I love the unique designs of the different demons, and the way they clearly pull a lot of inspiration from Japanese folklore. Another strength of the anime is its incredible soundtrack, which is also prominently featured in the Hinokami Chronicles. The implementation of the show's masterful score, paired with the game's gorgeous visuals, allow the Hinokami Chronicles to feel very authentic to the anime. Feeling true to the anime should be the main aim of every video game adaptation of a series. So many anime adaptations don't feel like the shows they're adapting. When you look at a game like My Hero 1's Justice, for example, that just lacks the charm and heart of My Hero Academia, and ends up feeling like a soulless cash grab. It really goes to show just how good CyberConnect are at making these kinds of games. The Hinokami Chronicles' biggest issue is its lack of content. Once you've finished the story mode, there's just not much to do unless you're going to get really into the online multiplayer. And with the game's tiny roster, I don't see how multiplayer will hold anyone's attention for very long. There's also a training mode, but it's pretty bare bones, and strangely, instead of teaching you how to play as each character, when you pick a character in training mode, you'll actually fight against them in a series of battles that escalate in difficulty. I 100%ed the campaign, beat each character's training mode, and popped the platinum in just over 12 hours. Overall, I can't help but feel like the Hinokami Chronicles just lacks any ambition. With it, CyberConnect aren't aiming to do anything that they haven't already done with their Naruto games. In fact, the Hinokami Chronicles is less ambitious than those games, and because of this, I know that I'll be far more inclined to revisit the Ultimate Ninja Storm games over this next time I get the itch to play this kind of game. But with that said, I still had a good time playing through the Hinokami Chronicles, and if you're a fan of Demon Slayer, you probably will too. But its meagre roster and brief story mode make it impossible to recommend to anyone except die-hard Demon Slayer fans, especially at full price. I understand 100% why everyone involved in this game wants to capitalise on the current zeitgeist surrounding Demon Slayer, but the Hinokami Chronicles just left me wishing they'd waited another year or two to make this game, because by then the anime would be a bit further along, and they could have also included a couple more story arcs in the game, as well as the characters featured in them, which would have likely fixed the major issues I have with the Hinokami Chronicles. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, or leave a comment. You can find countless other videos on my channel, including my recent reviews of Far Cry 6 and Kena Bridge of Spirits. And stay tuned over the coming weeks, because I have a ton of videos in the pipeline, ranging from reviews of Guardians of the Galaxy and Halo Infinite, to videos counting down my favourite games of 2021, and my most anticipated games of 2022. And one last thing. Seeing as this is going to be the first video going live on my channel in 2022, I just want to wish everyone a happy new year, and say thank you to everyone who watched one of my videos in 2021.